sa ating mga pahayagan ngayon. Pasensya na po kayo pero sabi ko ito pong issue tungkol sa pagpapaslang kay ano pa niya,
Percy Lapid, sir.
Percy Lapid, no? Yung isa pong vlogger na
veteran broadcaster po yan, Professor. Dating nasa DWBL po yan at napunta ngayon sa DZRJ.
Oh, I see. Okay. At any rate, mukhang palalim ang istorya dyan at para pong tinatawag natin tabloid issue. No? Yung mga ganitong klaseng mga storya kapag papaslang at kung sino ang mastermind at paghahanap nito, yan po ang madalas nating nababasa at nakikita ngayon sa ating pahayagan at sa mga radyo at television, and it's called the tabloid issue. Tabloid means pangmaramihan na at pang masa ang topic. No? Importante din po natin malaman kung ano ba ang nangyayari dito. Dahil nakakalungkot ang kinalabasan na mukhang ang binuksan ng mismong pumaslang kay Percy Lapid ay mukhang it's turning out to be a can of worms. No? Habang inuukay po natin, hinahanap po natin ang mga mastermind. Ang sinabi niya, yung middleman, si Villamor, bigla naman namatay si Villamor. Pagkatapos, meron pa palang isa pang Villamor. Pagkatapos, may 4 pang lumabas na mga testigo na nasa bilibid at ngayon sinusuri ang kanilang mga testimony, no? Na nagsabi nila mukhang nag-ahmak, nagko-coincide, no? Si Percy Lapid daw ayon sa medical legal o dun sa nag-autopsy sa kanya si Dr. Fortune ay pinaslang daw pamamagitan ng paggamit ng plastic na pagtakip sa kanyang ulo upang hindi siya makahinga. No? Kanya siguro walang nakitang mga marka ang NBI nung una silang nag-autopsy, walang external causes of death, meaning walang butas yung katawan dahil sa bala o panunaksak. No? So yun ang kanilang sinabi, very clear, external. Nung in-examine, humingi ng bagong autopsy yung pamilya at tunuan nila si Dr. Fortune at ito nga ang sinabi sa kanyang palagay, pinaslang si Villamor sa pamamagitan ng pagtatakip sa kanyang ulo ng plastic. No? Talaga naman, subukan niyo po yun. Sana huwag kayong mamatay, pero subukan niyo po yan. Hindi ka talaga makakahinga at sandali lang, patay ka na. No? At nakikita po natin yan sa mga sine. No? So, yun ang kasalukuyan na sitwasyon ngayon. Hindi ko na alam, baka meron pang bago na may dadagdag ka dyan, Cathy.
Well, so far, sir, the same information po na nakala po ninyo. But anyway, Professor Butch, no, meron kasing mga nagsasabi na may mga problema ring personal, no, hindi related sa trabaho. So kung ano man po 'yun, kasi medyo alam naman po natin na talagang kumbaga marami pong clinic-criticize itong si Percy Lapid. Hindi lang naman po ang pamahalaang ito. At syempre, alam niyo na, basta mali, talaga pong binabanatan po niya sa radyo, Professor Butch.
Oo nga. Pero sa pag-iimbestiga, lumalabas, sabi ni PNP Chief, sa pag-iimbestiga, lumalabas na itong isang subject na binabanatan niya mga 2 months before he was killed, no? Ay itong si Prison Superintendent Bantag, no? At ang itinutukoy niya bakit daw may 2 mansyon, no? At ganyan-ganyan. Siyempre, nag-ano siya, nag-insinuate na merong extra income na tinatanggap itong si Bantag. At kasama na rin doon ang insinuation na marahil nanggagaling sa mga drug lords, no? Kasi yung mga drug lords nag-ooperate pa rin sa sa Bilibid prison, no? Parang ganyan yung kanyang insinuation. Kanya na temporarily suspended si Bantag habang meron investigasyon. Ngayon, dumating yung investigation, lumabas naman, sabi ni Chief PNP, may 2 pang pangalan ng general, no? Na lumulutang ngayon, no? Ayaw pa nilang ibunyag ang kanilang mga pangalan dahil siyempre hahanap muna ng paraan para makasuhan ng mabuti. Tapos doon hindi mo na mapipigil, lalabas at lalabas na yung mga pangalan nitong mga general na ito. Hindi naman nakakagulat sa ating pag-iisip na marami na yan mga general noon, no? Nasangkot sa pagtutulak ng droga o sila mismo mga drug lords, di ba? Maraming pangalan, yung pangalan mga sinabi noon nila ni President Duterte na wala naman nangyari, no? Meron Loot, merong ano ba yung isang general na malapit kay Mar Rojas. I forgot their names already. Pero 5 o 6 na general yan, walang nangyari sa kanila. Tapos mga 1 year before tapos ng termino si President Duterte, yung sino ba itong Chief of Police na nakitaan din ng anomalya, no? Sangkot din sa droga sa Pampanga o ganyan, no? Sabi ko, ano bang nangyayari sa ating lipunan kung ang naghahabol ng mga drug lords ay mismong drug lords din? Parang katawa-tawa, di po ba? Pero masakit sa nangyayari sa ating lipunan ngayon. Meron ba tayong mga gusto magkomento dito? Andyan si Carlo o si Sida?
Siguro, sir, simulan natin kay Itos. Baka meron siyang nais na ibahagi sa ating mga tagapanood o tagapakinig. Sir Itos?
Regarding yung kay Mr. Lapid, no, yung nangyari sa kanya, definitely sana lang, yung sa akin is sana naman may talagang investigasyon as to the roots of this and sino man. I understand that this is Mr. Lapid has been very critical of certain quarters and but at the end of the day, hindi naman yun yung dapat makita natin kung bakit at ano pa talaga yung investigation. Diba? There needs to be a real investigation on this things. Yung mga nangyayari kasi ganito, madali lang i-cover up, hindi na natin malalaman, puro chismis na nga lumalabas. So, yun lang ang komento ko dyan on that point po. So, yun lang po.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yun ang what is sad here is that you have a situation where napakadaling pumatay ng tao, no? At siguro napakamura, no? Hindi mo man kakilala, biglang dadaanan ka lang na motorsiklo tapos babariling ka na lang ganyan, no? For a little amount. That is how they value life, no? Natatandaan ko may napanood ako na sine sa Netflix, in The Big Boss. Kung meron kayong kakayanan po, hanapin nyo yan, The Big Boss, na sine sa Netflix. Nakakahiya ang bansa natin dyan. No? Kasi ang sinasabi nila dyan na ang Pilipinas daw ang one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Anybody can be corrupted from top to bottom or from bottom to top. And it is very easy to assassinate and cheap to assassinate any person. Everybody daw is corrupt in government. Yun ang sinasabi nitong yung The Big Boss. And it is a documentary, kaya napaka-totoo. Ang nagnanarrate pa nga si Tess Bitug ng Rappler. No? Kanya nung nakita ko, bakit yung presidente ng Rappler, si Tess Bitug, alam niya palang nandito sa sine itong The Big Boss. Bakit hindi niya isiniwalat? Ba't niya tinago? No? Yung napakalaking bagay nitong storyang ito. Meron pang sinabi dun sa storyang yun, itong The Big Boss, ano siya ganyan na drugs, tsaka weapons, yung mga nagbebenta ng mga armas, tsaka drugs, no? Meron pa sinabi doon, ang hilig-hilig niya daw sa babae, naging girlfriend niya yata isang anak ng senador at ginulpi niya daw yung anak ng senador. Tapos, hindi mini-mention kung anong pangalan at kung sino, pero ginulpi daw niya at nagkaayusan daw siya sa ama nung babae na senador. Ang senador yung ama, nabigyan daw ng $1 million. Okay na. Kalimutan na yung kaso, wala nang kasuhan. Yung po daw, sabi ko, nangyayari ito sa atin. Yung mga mambabatas natin, mangyayari sa kanila, tameme. Tahimik lang sila. At in effect, pag nabigyan ka ganyan, ikaw na rin ang protector ng drug lord na yan. Ano to? Foreigner. Foreigner yan, The Big Boss na yan. At dito ang ginawa niyang base sa kanyang mga criminal activities. Finally, nahuli siya ng DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency ng US. No? Pero yung Pilipinas, walang nagawa, walang tulong na naigawa. Tiga-istorya lang tayo. No? Yun si Tess Bitug nag-istorya. Pinadalang kong message si Tess Bitug asking her, message sa Facebook asking her, why did you not post this movie and story about the Philippines, no? Because you were the chief narrator. Siya yung ano dun sa documentary yon. Anyway, kanya itong mga nangyari sa atin tungkol dito ngayon, parang hindi na masyadong nakakagulat pero nakakalungkot. Yeah. Any comments from Jeff Valdes? Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me, Butch?
Yes, yes. Well,
Sorry, but my camera isn't working on my PC, so you can only hear me.
okay.
I was going to send another.
Topic.
Well, no response to the chat. Has anyone watched Amo and Buy Bust?
No, I
On
don't.
Netflix. On Netflix.
What's the title again?
Amo and Buy Bust.
Amo, A-M-O?
Yes.
I have not come across it yet.
Okay. And Buy
Tagalog
Bust.
film.
No. And there's another interesting series called Peaky Blinders. It's about the rise of the Irish Mafia between World War I and World War II, before World War II, after World War I and before World War II. And what these movies reveal is the complexity of narcopolitics. Narcopolitics is, by its very word, complicated because it deals with illicit commerce, but converging with political systems in a kind of symbiotic manner. Even if it is to the detriment of the people, but justifying its existence by saying it exists for the good of the people. Their argument is always, if we don't do it, someone else will, and in a worse manner.
Yeah.
That's usually the argument of all these syndicates where its interests converge with not just government, but the business interests that support government. And when that happens, the whole situation becomes very messy. That is what we've seen in history. That is, I am currently studying the Chinese opium trade, and it is really, you find certain incredible theories and possibilities supported by evidence. That did you know that opium was eventually, well, it was declared illegal by the Manchu government. But in Hong Kong, it was mixed with tobacco from the Philippines so that it can be legitimately smuggled into the country as tobacco. And one of the biggest warlord or drug lords at the time was the father of none other than Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who put his son, the president, through Ivy League education, the highest quality education, became the president and was actually a champion for amending the U.S. Constitution to include economic rights. So it's a really, we're really talking about complicated histories here. And when it is at a point where it's too late to undo the damage, somehow we have to push forward so that it does not just get less harmful, but it leads towards honest to goodness reforms. Or else, society that allows it to continue will destroy itself. In the same way, the Manchu dynasty destroyed itself, went through a lot of turbulence. Even if Sun Yat-sen had good intentions in getting rid of the dynasty, the dynasty that was complicit in the drug trade. There was a horrible civil war that followed afterwards, and it ended with a communist regime of Mao Zedong. So what I'm saying here is I think we really have to learn lessons of history to apply to the Philippines.
Well, yes. We do have to learn a lot about history, but I think we should be able to read it without avoiding or not including very, very salient facts. First of all, the British were the ones that were insisting that China buy their opium coming from southern India because the British were saying that there was uneven trade between China and the British because they were importing a lot of tea. So what the British did, they produced opium and started pushing China to take it in. Now,
okay, now you've got an interesting input there because of Britain, the British Empire, if you notice, with the exception of the Indian subcontinent, merely wanted to colonize strategic trading ports. They did not want to subjugate an entire country except for India, right?
Well, no.
And the reason they did that was exactly what you are mentioning now.
Yeah.
India through the country itself was Afghanistan. India was the biggest producer of opium, the poppies. And so for the great British Empire to enjoy the full benefit of the drug trade, it had to dominate in the Indian subcontinent and dominate the trade to China.
Yeah.
But it corrupted the Chinese to trade for themselves within the country. So it divided and conquered both countries, India and China.
Obviously, the use of drugs, of course, obviously destroyed society. And soon enough, the emperor had seen what it was doing in society. So it decided to stop importation and entry of drugs, they didn't call it drugs, opium, into China. When they decided to do that, the British said this is against the principle of free trade. And therefore, they challenged China into a war. And that war was the Opium War, wherein the China had to cede Hong Kong and part of that to the Portuguese Macau, for 100 years. That is how that thing had stopped. So Hong Kong was basically given to the British because of the loss in the Opium War. This is how things are developing. Now, this thing about the father of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, it's new to me. What I know about the father of Franklin Delano Roosevelt is that he was I'll say this, a businessman that was dealing, of course, all kinds of goods, but not drugs, not opium. He was not part of the, Boston. There was a bank called Boston Bank in the United States, which was also known as the Opium Bank. Opium, if you must remember, was not illegal at the time. It was not illegal. Only subsequent to that, when they saw that it was destroying societies, the moral fiber of societies, did countries and nations start to inhibit the use of these things. But before we go into these things, I just wanted to emphasize that the situation that the Philippines is in right now, whether it is in drugs or whether it is because of the economic situation, when economy goes down, crime goes up, and mortality of people also go up. These are these situations that are incontrovertible. The poorer the people are, the greater the crime rate. And the more abusive authorities are, like the police and so on and so forth. So the destruction of the society is starting, just like ours. We are on the verge, I think, of becoming a failed nation state. A failed nation state means a country which cannot govern itself. And if this actually happens, it will take generations for us to be able to correct it, because it will take more than just a civil war. It will take a bigger revolution to correct this situation, and it might become bloody. Now, that is what is scary. Our economic situation is dramatically deteriorating, almost disintegrating. The president does not seem to understand that this is happening. The president also has surprisingly started to accede to everything that the U.S. wants. I'm not too sure why, but practically now the latest news is they will add five more military bases based on the EDCA agreement, which means they will add 5 more U.S. military installations in Philippine military bases. These are missile sites that they are going to point towards China. I do not understand why the president is moving very fast towards this direction. And if you do that, of course, the economic situation are not going to be taken care of, especially not with the people like Ben Jokno and Medalla, even Balisacan. They will not be able to correct the situation. They're fiddling around with interest rates, hoping that the inflation will be corrected. No, it will not be corrected by that. Japan had the right idea just a little over a week ago. Japan government had announced that they are going to drop electricity rates for their people by 20% and water rates by 20%. They have the idea, they have the correct idea, and they said they're doing this to fight inflation. Now our clowns here, the Ben Joknos, they know that that should be done, or something akin to that, because we can bring down our electricity rates by more than 50%, maybe 60, 75%, because all of this is going to the pockets of about 9 family corporations, as based on the APIRA and the privatization of public utilities. We will be able, if we do this, if the government takes over the public utilities, and cuts down the power electricity rates by 75%, he would be adding to the people close to 3 or 4 trillion pesos a year as additional purchasing power. This is annual. There is nothing that is much more effective for fighting inflation than this. But the president is too scared, and it seems he might have had some deals with the oligarchy that he's not willing to let go of the APIRA and some other agreements with the oligarchy. Well, for one thing, Sabine Aboitis is the head of his business sector, and then the people that are running energy department and public utilities, public highways are all employees of the Aboitises. So we're not getting out of this hole. We are digging ourselves into the hold of the oligarchs, and we in effect have lost our country because of political leadership who do not understand that I'm being kind. They do not understand the flaws of this privatization move. I'm just being kind because if they understand that this thing is happening to our country and they still allow this, then that's tantamount to treason. That's the way I see it. It's my opinion. I don't know what your opinion is on this matter. Yeah. Who else? Carlo? Johnny? Anybody?
Carlo EY, do you have questions?
Ay, alam mo yung isang observation dyan, no? Dapat talaga mabantayan din natin ang issue na yan at para masiguro natin yung kung anong pwede natin magawa. Yun po muna isang dapat nabantayan natin dyan. Yun po ang isang nakita ko na.
Ayan nga. Siyempre, ano bang magagawa natin, Carlo?
Dapat din mag-ano tayo, magbantay tayo at sumulat sa mga dapat sulatan.
Dapat sulatan ang mga kinaukulan.
Oo.
Ha?
Oo, para mas mabantayan natin ng tama. Yun dapat mabantayan sa issue na ito.
Well, sa atin, well, dapat nga, sangayon naman ako sa iyo, dapat mas maraming mga mamamayan na dumugin ang mga kinaukulan sa kanilang mga opisina at sa na sabihin na ito ang gusto namin, no? At isulat ang ating mga kagustuhan, karaingan natin sa kanila. Pero ang inyong lingkod, siguro kulang-kulang siguro sa 20 taon, mahigit pa, kung ang pinaninindigan itong sinasabi ko. At wala akong ginawa noon kundi isigaw na kinakailangan tanggalin natin sa hawak ng oligarko ang mga public utilities dahil ito ang sasakal sa taong bayan. Ito ang papatay sa taong bayan. Mantakin nyo ang gastos po ng isang pamilya sa kuryente at sa tubig. Pag sinamaan nyo po yan, mahigit pa 50% sa kinikita ng pamilya. Dadagdagan mo pa dyan ng kanilang kakainin. No? Ano po po ang natitira doon sa pamilyang yan? Saan pumupunta yung 50% sa bulsa ng siyam na korporasyon na may hawak ng kuryente at tubig na hindi dapat nila hinawakan dahil ang public utilities ay isang katungkulan ng gobyerno na huwag ibibigay sa pribado sektor para hindi pagkikitaan ng taong bayan. Ay ang ginawa nila Fidel Ramos, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, si Noynoy Aquino at Rudy Duterte, binigay niya sa pribado sektor at hindi nila kinibo. Tumaas pa ng tumaas ang hawak nila. Ano mangyayari ngayon sa taong bayan? Alam niyo po, pag ganyan, pag sobra-sobra na, hindi mo mauisip kung bakit nangyayari yan. Hindi ko maalis sa aking pag-iisip na talagang sinasadya nila to para dumami ang mga naghihirap. Pag dumami po ang naghihirap, gusto sabihin walang trabaho at mas konti ang kakainin. Pag mas konti ang kakainin, magkakaproblema yan sa kalusugan. Pag na-problema yan sa kalusugan, wala naman gagawin ang DOH para isalba sila sa buhay. No? Tuluyan na silang mamamatay. Ito po ay isang economic policy na magpapabawas ng ating populasyon. Sadya po yan. Ganyan po kasama ang mga tao ngayon. Hindi sila gumagawa ng mga patakaran basta-basta lang kunwari. Mga ekonomista ngayon, hindi na ganyan. Yung nag-ano lang kanila, yung pinag-aralan nila. Hindi po. May masamang nangyayari dito sa mga patakaran nila. Nagpapalit tayo ng mga presidente, anong nangyayari? Patuloy ang pagbagsak ng kalidad ng buhay natin. Paano naman yun? Lahat ng pinalit natin, masasama ba yan? Hindi po. Mga tanga lang. Bakit? Ano bang hindi natin pinalitan dito sa mga nakaraan 40 taon? Ayan. Ang hindi natin pinalitan ay ang patakaran pang ekonomiya. At ang mga tao na nagsisilbi as economic managers of this country, yan po ang hindi natin pinalitan. Yung mga katulad niyan, sila Medalya, sila Benjokno, mga yan ang sumira ng buhay ng mamamayang Pilipino. At pagyayabang nila, sabi nila, magaling akong ekonomista, 40 taon na akong nagsiservisyo sa gobyerno. Kung ganyan, dapat kung magaling ka, di humusay dapat ang buhay ng mamamayan. Tapos, pag hindi humuhusay, sino ang ibibintang nyo? Yung presidente na pinagsisilbihan nyo. Tapos matatanggal yung presidente pero kayo andyan pa rin. Yan ang ginagawa nyo. Hindi kayo halal pero nakaposisyon kayo dahil ipapagyabang nyo. Oy, meron akong doctorate in economics sa ganitong university. Meron akong ganitong tinapos. Ito ang aking experience sa gobyerno. Dapat ang tanong niyo, ilan bang buhay ang sinalba mo habang nasa Pilipinas, nasa gobyerno ka? O kaya mas mabuting tanong, ilan ba ang napatay mo habang nasa gobyerno ka? Yung pinakakonti ang napatay, pwede siguro. Pero lahat yan, ang pinapatay nila dahil sa sa patakaran pang ekonomiya. Hindi malayo, milyon. Pero hindi mo nahalata. Dahil sa atin, ang pag-isip natin kung paano papatayan, talagang physical. Nakikita natin, binabarel, pinapana, sinasaksak. Yan ang tingin natin sa pinapatay. Yung gutom, hindi nila papakita. Gagawa ka ng batas Sasabihin ni Diokno, kailangan ibaba ang taripa ng pag-angkat ng bigas. Oh. Ibaba na ibaba. Okay. Anong mangyayari doon? Sasabihin natin, maghihirap yung ating mga magsasaka. Anong maghihirap? May mamamatay dyan. Si Diokno, ano ba yung sinabi niya na kamakailan lang? Agriculture is a sunset industry, sabi niya. Anong ibig niya sabihin? Huwag na tayong managinip, mag-produce ng pagkain. Yan ang ibig niya sabihin dyan. Ibig niya sabihin, mag-angkat na lang tayo ng mag-angkat dahil wala na tayong kakayanan mag-produce ng pagkain. Bakit wala nang kakayanan? Dahil sinira na nila Diokno, yung mga ekonomista, sinira na nila yung infrastruktura na makakabigay sa atin ng kakayanan mag-produce ng pagkain. Yan ang nangyayari. Ano mangyayari? Maraming mamamatay. Hindi natin nakikita araw-araw. Pero unti-unti ang mga yan. Yung kalusugan nila, bababa ng bababa. Tatamaan sila ng konting sipon, COVID na yan. Yan ang opinion ko lang po yan. Medyo minsan pag natatalakay ko ito, medyo nagagalit ako, naiinis ako dito sa mga tao, bakit pinapabayaan. No? Dahil sa malaki ang ating, nung pinasok natin itong mga binoto natin, malaki ang ating pag-aasa na sana magkaroon siya ng tunay na leadership, yung matapang at matalino. Kung wala tayong ganyan, palemya-lemya tayo, mamamatay tayo niyan. Yan ang medyo nakaka-frustrate. We've been doing this in my particular case, maybe about for the past 30 years. We have been, what do you call this? Parang a voice in the wilderness, going for the restart of the Bataan nuclear power plant 30 years ago, accusing President Ramos of corruption openly. But the media, who were paid, or who were just ignorant, continued in their ways. And they changed presidents, but they did not change policies. It's sad. Our people continue to suffer. And they are, because of the media, they are misled into thinking about, what the real causes of our quality of life, deterioration of our quality of life has been. Immediately, we point to the culprit, who is the opposition or the political opposition. And then the political opposition tries to take over him and accuse him of all kinds of things. Of course, corruption. When they take over, what do? The very same thing. Who stays in power? The oligarchs. Who continue to suffer? The people. 40 years. 40 years after. We had high hopes with Marcos, not because he was Marcos, the former president, the father of Bongbong. Not because he was the father of Bongbong or the president for them. We had high hopes because he articulated a vision and a program of government that we knew and understood will bring our economy into a level of being a producer economy to help our people. But after the revolution, we reversed our course and we became a country of OFWs, a country of caregivers, call center operators, not producing anything. And the only thing we could export are our people, because if they stay here, they will starve. Up to now, our people want to be exported, despite the fact that the countries willing to accept them are war-torn, nanggegera, binobomba yung mga lugar na gustong puntaan natin. Bakit? Ang sagot nila, uniform. E pag maiwan din kami sa Pilipinas, namamatay din kami sa gutom, makikipagsapalaran na lang kami dito, at least mas malaking kita mapapadala namin sa pamilya namin. Ganyan palagi ang sagot. Dapat manindigan po tayo. Kasi ako medyo matanda na. Yeah. Hanggang ngayon, hanggang buhay ako, siyempre maninindigan tayo at may paglaban. Pero ang nakakalungkot lang, yung ating mga kabataan, parang hindi nila alam at wala silang pakialam dito sa mga nangyayari. Sana mamulat ang kaisipan ng taong bayan. Tanggalin sa ating pamahalaan ang mga kinakailangan tanggalin. Ayusin ang patakaran ng ekonomiya na kakailanganin ayusin. Buwagin ang paghawak ng mga oligarko sa kuryente, sa tubig, at sa iba pang public utilities. Kung hindi natin gagawin ito, hindi tayo makakapag-ahon. Ang sasabihin nilang umaahon ng bansa dahil meron 6% growth rate si Benjok, no? 6% growth rate na siya mismo ang nag-arithmetic dyan. Yan ang ginagawa nila. Remember, figures do not lie, but liars can figure. Gagawa siya 6% growth rate. Oh, basta yan ang Pilipinas. O ilan ang namatay? Meron ka bang nasalbang buhay? Ilan bang trabahong nabigay mo? How many jobs were you able to generate? By the way, you must not include the people that you export to other countries as if though you are generating jobs for them. You're sending them to other countries because you cannot provide jobs for them here. Yan ang nangyayari sa atin. Wala na sa akin palagay. Ewan ko, siyempre meron dyan. Siyempre kailangan daan tayo sa proseso, sulatan mo, ganyan-ganyan. Okay. Pero ako po dito sa edad ko ngayon, saka yung gano'ng katagal na kaming lumalaban para iayos ang ating sitwasyon. Frustrated na po ako. Kung mga palagay ko sa ibang bansa, matagal na nagrevolusyon ng Pilipinas. Pero tayo dito, palagay ko wala na tayong kakayanan. Kasi binuang na tayo ng mga media. Ang media ngayon, sino ba may-ari? Di ba oligarko? Yan ang nangyayari sa atin. Meron ba kayo alam na television station na hindi pag-aari ng oligarko? So, that's the situation. And
okay. Okay, Sir Butch. Si Johnny Ventosa po nag-raise ng hand. So, Johnny? Ayan. Okay, go ahead, Sir Johnny.
I just wanted to ask a question.
yeah.
I'm listening to everything you're saying. I'm just to ask a question. Lately, there has been a post that publicly stated, it's supposed to be a public post, that the Supreme Court, because of what FDA has shown, has actually declared mandates of vaccination mandates as illegal and unconstitutional. My point is, has this gone through? The Supreme Court cannot create laws, no? So has it gone through Congress and the Senate so that the law should be really we should come out with the law?
I'm sorry, Johnny, I'm not familiar with it. Did you say a Supreme Court ruling that what has to do with population? I did catch it very well. No, was there a ruling by the Supreme Court here in the Philippines or the U.S.?
Here in the Philippines.
About our population?
Yes, about the vaccination and
vaccination. Yeah.
Yes. I just didn't want to use the word because you might be banned.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, what did the Supreme Court say? That it cannot be mandatory?
Yes, something like that.
Well,
but there are still country clubs that insist on vaccination passports, like the Palm Country Club.
Well, the thing is, the rejection, in my opinion, the rejection of vaccination is personal, individual. If they say you cannot enter my restaurant unless you are vaccinated, no, then you don't enter that restaurant. No? Now, can anybody file a case against them, no, for making that rule? I think so. I think a lawyer should file a case against a restaurant or a club or a movie house or whatever, no, that refuses to admit these people who are, because restaurants are open supposedly to the public, no? And they should not be discriminatory. It's almost like in the States, remember, yung black people cannot go inside the restaurant or something like that. No? It's discriminatory. No? It is you cannot impose that. No? Now, if it is your house, your personal home, where you live, and you don't want anybody to visit you who is not vaccinated, then I think that will be respected because that is your prerogative. It is just like saying, I don't want anybody who might be sick with flu to enter my house. No? O, di kanya na mangyayari, bahay mo eh. Pero kung meron kang restaurant, ngayon, kung hindi ka pinayagan dyan, of course, bakit mo pipilitin? Huwag kang pumilit na pumasok. Pero, pwede mo bang i-report yan? Oo. Pwede mong i-report. Now, yung report mo sa pulis, ano ba yan? Palagay ko yung pulis, walang din magagawa. Maghanap ka ng lawyer and you file a case against this. Tapos class suit. Lahat, isama nyo lahat ng mga restaurant dyan sa Green Hills, dyan sa Makati o sa na gumagawa ng ganyan, ay dapat sabihan ng Korte Suprema na it is a criminal offense. I don't know if that decision of the Supreme Court saying that it should not be mandatory, I don't know if it has a corollary provision wherein it says, if you insist, if you make it mandatory, then you are going against the law and it is punishable by so and so penalties. No? And I'm not sure if that is the case.
Is there a law against it? I mean, we're trying to fight oligarchs. Or let's take this big pharma as a big oligarch. I mean, how can we really do we have a law? Has Congress come up and then Senate with a law that says, hey, stop all this? I mean, there's no more pandemic. There's
Yeah.
I don't know, something like that. But
I would think, well, maybe something like this has not yet been, but I would think that our human rights law will have enough, to be able to sustain a case against the violation of this.
Butch,
I don't think so. No.
My point is that here we are as individuals. I mean, putting the pressure on them, like suing them or whatever. My point is, if there is a law, then the police can just go in and say, look, you are not following the rule of the country, and so you close shop. I mean, not us. I mean, we will go to court, and then all that hassle, and for what?
Yeah, I agree with
For
you.
what? I mean, the justice here is anyway. Never mind.
No, I agree with you. No, that if there was an enabling law, I presume kasi that the Supreme Court based its decision that vaccination cannot be mandatory. I'm sure they based it on a provision in our constitution. No? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng basta out of the blue magganyan. There must be a basis for that decision. And that decision might be a provision in the constitution or a law which was enacted before that was based on the constitution. I don't know. I am not a lawyer, Johnny, but I agree that there must be a way how to finally stop this whole thing. The oligarchs are still pushing. Alam mo who's pushing the vaccination? It's not really the government. It's the oligarchs asking the government
I know.
to push the vaccination because the oligarchs were the ones who advanced the money for this. And they want to be able to recoup the money for the imported vaccinations.
Because this big pharma oligarch will not, they don't follow the constitution.
The big pharma is out of the Philippines pa. Pero ang importation niyan, no?
Yeah.
A strong feeling that these oligarchs we have here, the local
Okay, I agree.
are the ones who imported it, but got the government to be the one to dispose of it. Now, since the government could not dispose of it, so they will be left with so much vaccines that have not been used. No? Kanya ang nagpupwersa dyan, yung mga oligarko. Tahimik lang yan. Pero palagay ko, a lot of them try to make money on this. They might have made a lot of money already. No? Malaking pera yan. No? Importing from pharma and then adding a value-added thing. No? Tapos pa-distribute mo sa gobyerno. Malaking pera yan. Tsaka maraming mga government officials from top to bottom. We're talking about what? How much did we borrow? How much did we borrow? 1 trillion? 1 trillion? 1 trillion pesos, no? For vaccines. Maybe even more. So malaking pera. So ang Pilipino matagal ng linoloko ng mga oligarko tsaka ng mga nasa gobyerno. No? It's tantamount. I mean, it's high time, no? That our people learned how to stand up for our future, for our children, for our grandchildren. No? Because if we don't talk like this, we don't say anything, we don't criticize and bring up all of these anomalies, we become accessories to the crime. By keeping silent, no? We become accessories to the crime. Sabi, ayoko nang makisali dyan kasi magulo yan eh. Ito na nga ang ginagawa nito. Pag sumama yung sistema, papatayin yung anak mo. Tapos sasabihin mo, magulo yan. Siyempre, papagtanggol mo yung pamilya mo, di ba? Kinabukasan ng anak mo. Dapat ganyan. Marami dyan. Alam mo, may kasabihan. Ang pinaka mabigat at mahirap na lugar sa impyerno ay nakareserba para doon sa mga tao na alam na nila kung ano yung tama at ano yung mali. Tapos, neutral pa sila. Tameme pa sila. They know what is good and what is bad. They know what is evil and what is good. And yet they choose to be neutral.
Exactly.
When they do that, the worst place in hell is reserved for them. Yan po ang sinabi ni Dante Alighieri. Kung gusto nyo hanapin yan, kung sino si Dante Alighieri, yan sa Google, i-Google nyo na lang. So, This is a responsibility we all face. No? It is obvious. It is all right. It is normal to be scared. It is normal to be a little, circumspect or prudent, they call it. No? Yes. But it is not normal to be quiet, while you know very well that your children and your grandchildren will be suffering even more if you stay quiet. Kasalanan mo na yun. At maski nasa kabilang buhay ka na, kakalampagin ka pa rin ng mga apo mo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I wanted to take up something different.
Yeah. Butch, I wanted to ask a very
Of
crucial
may, yeah. May
Yes.
gusto itanong si Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And my crucial question is this. If there is, if a law allows the privatization of the Bataan nuclear power plant to open,
Yeah.
and it allows it to be privatized,
Yeah.
and it facilitates its privatization, will you support that or not?
Depends.
Depends on what?
First of all, the principle is public utilities must be under the control of the government. That is what the principle I follow. Now, if somebody says we will privatize the Bataan nuclear power plant, if by privatizing does that mean that they will be part of this EPIRA thing, which will dictate to government and to the people the electricity rates that they want? No, I am not for that. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why I want the Bataan nuclear power plant to be started is precisely because it is owned by government. It has not been part of the EPIRA. And that if the government starts it and produces electricity from it and makes sure that it produces at the cost which we estimate to be 2 pesos per kilowatt hour, the 15 pesos per kilowatt hour that is being charged by the oligarchs to our people will be pulled down somewhat. Of course, not much, but it will be pulled down and somewhat give to the people a cheaper source of electricity.
So let me clarify. If privatization, if the Bataan nuclear power plant is allowed to be open under the conditions of the EPIRA, you will oppose it.
Yes, of course.
I'm with you there. But
yes,
if,
that's the well, I gave you my answer on that.
Yes.
But the idea there is you must repeal the EPIRA and give back the public utilities to the government. Again, let me reiterate that there is a provision in our Constitution, Article 12, Section 17, 18, all the way up to Section 22. Article 12 of our Constitution, Section 17, says that at the time of economic and health crisis, government is mandated to take over public utilities temporarily or permanently, in order to be able to bring down, of course, the burden on our people. This is specific for public utilities referred to by the Constitution. And specifically says permanent, temporarily or permanently. Why? Because public utilities should really be in the control and management of government. If at all, a private sector is involved in various holdings, 50-50 or 30% or something like that, because there are, government never relinquishes control on the rates. Never, because they will have to answer to the people.
So can I clarify, Butch? So
Yeah.
what you want step by step is this. Reject IPIRA, because I'm all for that.
Yes.
And after rejecting IPIRA, that's when we can make the choice whether to operate or not the Bataan nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Because if we operate the Bataan nuclear power plant, and this is what I suspect the oligarchs are doing under Popolotilia, that they are maneuvering to first allow the privatization of these plants, of the Bataan nuclear plant, on a condition, and this is where I think the creative legislative mind of legal mind of Popolotilia comes in, with the condition that the privatizers will ensure the Bataan nuclear power plant from any risks, then they will privatize. Because I think under the IPIRA law, because I think that is the direction Popolotilia is pursuing. You may think that but Ben Jokno may be the danger here. But I think the hidden danger here is someone like Popolotilia.
Yes, and that is a fake premise that is going to make something to do with the safety of the nuclear power plant. The safety of the nuclear power plant should be beyond debates already. It has been pounded and pounded and pounded on them. But history all over the world, ever since nuclear power plants have been running all different parts of the world. Nuclear energy has the least number of casualties in its operation or in its construction. Now, the most is, of course, coal and hydroelectric and so on and so forth. So safety is a fake reason. They know because there is going to be a lot of debates on the so-called safety. I have a feeling that they will want to use safety as a issue because this is where they can pay, and I mean pay money to the environmentalists and to the leftists, who most likely will oppose this on those terms, on safety issues. But those terms, those safety issues are irrelevant already as of now and have no basis. We have scientists. Dr. Carlos Arcilla is foremost among them in my mind, and several others that can tell the people and those who are interested, even those in Congress, that the Bataan nuclear power plant and where it stands is very safe. And it will take a earthquake of magnitude 20, no, for a tsunami to hit that one. Magnitude 20 is not even historically happened. It didn't. Magnitude 9 point something was this thing in Japan that happened. That created a tsunami. Nobody died because of nuclear exposure, radiation exposure. Japan itself said that. 2 weeks after the incident, all of the workers, there were 30 workers in the nuclear power plant in Japan that were quarantined in the hospital, and 2 weeks after that, they were released because their exposure to radiation was not a health risk or something to that effect. So all of us are exposed to radiation one way or the other. Even your cell phone will give you radiation more than what you will get in a nuclear power plant. But all of these are not. These are said with deaf ears, no? Especially if they're ideologically based. Yung mga kaliwa, tsaka yung mga so-called environmentalists. So the way to do it is really the complete repeal and bring back, just use the Constitution. Use that provision in the Constitution. Take it back. Now, what do you do with the oligarchs? They will lose this. No, you tell them, okay, what is it? What money did you put here, and this is what you owe the government, and this is the money. We will pay you back. In the meantime, we would like to invite you. You tell the oligarch to put up a steel plant. We will help you financially. We will help you technologically. We will help you to import equipments without tariff and so on and so forth. And we will give you a moratorium on payment of debt and payment of taxes for X number of years. We do that for steel companies. Mr. Aboitis, why don't you go into fertilizer? No? We do the same. What about pharmaceuticals, Mr. Ramon? Or what about these other agro-industrial things, this thing on minerals? No? So you can make them go into these things. Boost them up for agro-industrial development. Because these companies that will be producing more companies, you know, will become the employment generators. Our people, if we move into this within the next couple of years, if that is the program, a lot of our people will start to come back. Yeah. Because these industries will be able to provide them the income that they want and they need. And so what would you have done? You would have converted with that decision to take over the public utilities and move the private sector or the oligarchs to industry. You would have reversed our economic program from being a service economy and back to a producer economy. And this is going to happen. And you watch the so-called growth rate that they're talking about, which is fake, the 6% of Jokno, will look stupid compared to the 10 or 12% that the Philippines will be growing if we do this.
Okay, Sir Butch, meron ding message po rito mula sa ating Zoom, no? Sana ma-discuss yung paeng na gawa ng HARP at kaugnayan nito sa pagdalaw ni Tedros na swab team this week at ang pirmahan ni Elon Musk at Henry C. na magtayo ng robot city sa Pilipinas. Yan ay natatabunan dahil masaya tao, tinanggal ang face diaper at dahil sa offering sa mga namatay sa baha at sa South Korea. Birthday daw, hindi ko na masyadong ano yun. Kaya meron silang offering at mga ritual. Can you forward? Ayan. Yan ang sabi, dapat daw magkaroon ng congressional inquiry at dapat magkaroon ng approval ng Congress. Yan po ang message mula kay Diwa Salome, forwarded by Carlo EY.
Okay.
And Professor Butch.
Yes. Yes. Lumasang-ayon din ako sa inyong opinion at I'm not very familiar with it. Kanya, pasensyaan nyo na kung wala akong masyado masabi doon. No? Pero more power po sa inyo.
Sir Butch, may ask lang po. Nandito pa na si Miss Sally po. And tanungin ko na rin po sa kung anong latest po sa mga deaths po. Miss Sally at sa inyong opinion na rin po, Professor Butch, sa patuloy pa rin pagtaas ng kuryente sa ating bayan.
Pagtaas ng kuryente, yun nga pinag-uusapan natin dahil dito sa EPIRA. Pero sabihin natin, anong opinion natin sa pagtaas ng halaga ng bilihin? Lahat ng bilihin. No? Talagang tataas yan dahil wala tayong kakayanan mag-produce. Ang pamamaraan para hindi tataas ang halaga ng bilihin na ikaw ang nag-produce. For example, para hindi tumaas ang halaga ng asukal, kailangan laganap ang production mo ng asukal. Para hindi tumaas ang bigas, laganap ang production mo ng palay. No? Pero kung gumawa ka na ng paraan para mapigil ang production ng asukal, darating ang panahon na kakailanganin mo yan at mapipilitan kang mag-angkat. Itong gustong-gusto ni Joke, no? Mag-angkat na lang tayo, wag na tayo mag-produce. Pag nag-angkat ka, nakakasiguro ka bang mura yung i-angkat mo? Kasi dahil wala ka ng ibang magawa kundi mag-angkat ng palay o ng bigas, pwede nilang taasan ang halaga niyan, wala kang magagawa. Sa makatuwid, yung gustuin mo sanang babain ang presyo ng bigas, hindi mangyayari dahil yung mga binibilhan natin ng bigas sa unang delivery sa atin, mura. Pangalawa, mahal na. Paano pang sasabihin, hindi kami bibili ng bigas sa inyo dahil masyadong mahal. Pinatay mo na yung mga magsasaka natin na nagpo-produce. No? Yan ang ginagawa nila, Dok. No? Kaya importante, gawin natin ang pamamaraan para we move towards a producer economy. We're starting to produce what we need. Any country which cannot feed its own people cannot call itself a nation. We cannot call ourselves a nation. Hindi natin mapakain ng sarili natin. Kailangan mag-angkat ka pa sa iba-ibang bayan na magpapakain sa atin. Yan ang kagagawa ng ating mga economic managers. Kanya ang sinasabi ko, wala nang ibang wala nang ibang magagawa sila, Jok, no, sa laban sa inflasyon. Kasi ang kanilang method, manipulation of interest rates lang. Supply of money. No? Pag gusto nilang yung liquidity, itataas nila yung interest. Pag ginawa naman nila yon, walang maka-under na negosyo. Pag gusto nilang magbuhos, ibababa nila yung interest. Pag ginawa naman nila yon, magkakaroon ng inflation. No? Tumataas ang halaga ng bilihin. So, ano ang gagawin? Wala na silang magawa. Kanya ang sinasabi natin, ang solusyon dito ay puntahan natin itong malaking pinaggagastusan ng mga pamilya ng Pilipino at mga pangalakal na Pilipino. Ano yon? Kuryente at tubig. Napakalaki po yan. Trilyon-trilyon yan kada taon. Iyang binabayad natin sa kuryente at tubig sa mga oligarko. Hindi dapat sa oligarko binibigay yan. Iyan ay isang katungkulan ng isang gobyerno hawakin para huwag tataas ang halaga ng kuryente at tubig para sa taong bayan. Pero binigay nila sa oligarko at pinagkitaan na nila ng gusto. Ang kinakailangan natin para maibsan itong inflation, kunin natin yan. Ibaba natin ang halaga ng kuryente at tubig. Pag nagawa mo yan, yan ang pinakamahusay na panglaban sa pagtaas ng bilihin. Habang ginagawa mo yan at ikaw nabibigyan mo ng purchasing power ang mamamayan at mga negosyo, magtayo ka ng patakaran pang ekonomiya na magpapalaganap ng tanim, ng isda, ng manok, ng palay, ng prutas, ng karne, ng baka, lahat yan. Kailangan pataasan mo ang production yan. We must move towards the production of food to double, to triple, or even quadruple the amount of food that we produce. Because that is anti-inflationary.
Okay, Sir Butch, meron lang po tayong mensahe sa ating wait po nahalap ko. Okay. Ito pong mensahe sa ating FB. We could have had started the Unit 1 of the Philippine nuclear power plant in 1985. China, as a first world country status right now, we should make them our example. First, their first nuclear plant was commissioned only in 1997. Now, year 2022, China has already 55 operating nuclear power plants and 18 under construction. As Philippines, 0. Diba? Grabe. Sir Butch?
Kita niyo yan. No? Nakakatuwa nga. Yung unang-unang nuclear power plant ng China, 1997.
It's 1985. First unit.
Hindi.
1997. 1997 sa China.
Tama. Yung sa Pilipinas, 1985 dapat umanday.
Yes, dapat.
Tingnan nyo nangyari ngayon. 1997, ang unang-unang nuclear power plant ng China. Ilan ang nuclear power plant nila?
55 ang operating nuclear power plants. Tapos may 18 pa sila ngayon na under construction.
Kita niyo?
So samantalang tayo, sir.
Nagtataka kayo kung bakit ang galing-galing ng China? No? Hindi sila nagtataka bakit ang tanga-tanga natin eh. No? Tapos, tignan mo pa, South Korea. Yung South Korea, inumpisa nila yung kauna-unahan nilang nuclear power plant in 1984. Tayo, dapat 1985, pero hindi natin na dahil kay Corazon Aquino. Ngayon, ilan na ba ang nuclear power plant ng South Korea? It has right now 24 nuclear power plants. Nagkakapagtaka ba bakit maunlad ang South Korea? Yang mga Samsung na yan, yung mga Android na yan, yung mga yan na binibili natin galing sa kanila. Yung mga Hyundai, yung mga Kia, yung mga, lahat yan gawa na nila. No? Meron pa tayong mga binili sa kanilang mga eroplanong pangdigmaan, warplanes. We bought 1 dozen warplanes from them. No? Yan. And we were ahead of them in 1985. Yan ang nakakalungkot. No? Ang ginawa nitong mga ekonomistang pulpul natin, mga econoquacks na si Ben Jokno, sila Solita Monsod, at yung mga yan, barkada yan, no? Pinaatras nila ang bansang Pilipinas. Habang lahat ng ibang bansa sumusulong at napapakain nila ang kanilang mga populasyon. Hindi lang yon, napapakain nila yung higit na pagrami ng kanilang populasyon. Alam niyo ba sa China, 1.4 billion people, siya lang ang tanging bansa na makapagyabang na wala sa kanilang populasyon is below the poverty line. Lahat ng kanilang populasyon lampas above the poverty line. And even while they claim this, not even the United States or the British can object to this. They cannot say it's a lie. Why? Because it's very easy to prove. Yan ang nangyayari ngayon. Hindi ako maka-China. Ang laban kasi hindi pro-China, pro-US, or pro-this or pro-that. Hindi eh. Ako makatao for humanity. Ang mga Amerikano, maraming mababait na Amerikano, yung mga liderato nilang tanga. No? Ganyan din sa British. No? Dito sa atin, di bali na dito sa atin. Alam niyo na po kung anong nangyayari dito sa atin. Kaya nakakalungkot. It is not the people. It is the inadequate leadership, inadequate moral leadership that is causing all of these problems for us. We have to wake up and do what is necessary. If we just allow this to go on and on and on without reacting, without contributing, without even sitting down with a friend to talk about the problems and how we can solve it, alam mangyayari sa atin. Kanina,
Yes, Sir Butch. It's already 8:44 na po ng gabi at kayo pa rin po ay nanonood sa pamagitan po ng ating mga social media accounts ng Partido ADP sa ating FB at YouTube account. At syempre, sabayan po tayong napapakinggan sa pamagitan po ng radyo sa DZXL 558 kHz sa AM band. At syempre, ang tunay na bida ng palatuntunan ito, walang iba kundi si Professor Butch Valdes. Kasama pa rin si Itos Valdes at ang ilang mga kasama natin dito sa ating Zoom, no? Si Johnny Ventosa, si Super Sally, at of course si Giancarlo EY. At umalis na si Geoffrey Balceser kasi meron pa raw siyang lakad bukas. But anyway, gusto ko lang po batiin ang National Press Club sa naganap na anniversary, ika-70 taong anibersaryo po ng National Press Club. Professor Butch, ito ay ginanap noong October 28. At mas simple pero sabi nga natin ay makahulugan na pagtitipon po ang isinagawa nung nakaraan pong Biyernes sa National Press Club building. Congratulations po sa ating mga kasamahan, lalo na po sa presidente ng National Press Club, ang kauna-unahang babae po sa loob ng 7 dekada. Kauna-unahang babae po si Lydia Bueno. And of course, ang kanyang secretary, si Paul Gutierrez, yan, at sila Cristina Maralit, ang Vice President, at mga iba pang mga Board of Directors. Professor Butch?
Okay, well, congratulations to the National Press Club officers. Si Paul Gutierrez lang kakilala ko dyan. No? At any rate, kanina pa gusto kong palitan sana yung topic. No? Pero hindi ko lang, hihingin kong tulong ni Itos, maski na konti lang. Kasi meron dito sa darating na panahon, magkakaroon ng midterm election sa Amerika. At napaka-importante po nitong midterm election sa Amerika. Maski na hindi nyo po masyadong nasusubaybayan. No? Malaking impact ito po sa Amerika at kung makakapagpalit ng patakaran ng foreign relations tsaka economy ang US pag napalitan ng kanilang mga namumuno sa Congress, no, ay malaking epekto sa ating buhay sa buong mundo. No? Kaya gusto kong hingin ng update si Itos kung meron pa siyang alam na nangyari at anong pwede nating antabayanan sa darating na panahon. Itos?
Yeah, hi, hello po sa mga nandito pa, yun ang Ating Katipunan. So yun na nga po, in November 8, it's called the midterms. Yung midterms po in between the presidential elections yan sa US. So usually itong House, Congress and Senate, lower house and everybody, ito yung Senate. Now, sabi nga ni Chairman, yung one of the most important elections here. Ano po yung background nito? Maalala po natin in 2020 tumakbo si President Trump against Joseph Biden. Ngayon, marami po nangyari sa eleksyon na yon na hindi parang nakakapagtataka kung bakit gano'n ang resultang yon. And remember po, ang nag-handle po ng eleksyon na yon ay ang parehong kumpanya na nandito, Smartmatic. It's the same people who own Smartmatic, the same people who handled that election in many states. Ngayon, ito po yung midterm. Na kung naniwala tayo sa resulta ng eleksyon noon, 2020, maniniwala rin po tayo na si Joe Biden, ang sinasabing presidente ng US ngayon, ay nakakuha ng 81 million votes. That makes him the most popular American president of all time in history. Ngayon, punta naman tayo, and since then, nakita po natin Lahat po ng survey, lahat ng mga nangyayari since 2020. Ngayon, 2022 na po ang midterm. At ang rating po ni Joe Biden bilang isang presidente ay nasa siguro mga 20% na lang na ayaw sa kanya. At ang ratings ni President Trump, kahit hindi siya tumatakbo sa eleksyon na to, ay napakalaki. Gustong-gusto ng tao na siya ang bumalik sa pwesto. Ngayon, nangyayari ngayon, sinasabi ni Trump, may nangyaring cheating noong 2020. At lahat ng kandidatong sinusuportahan niya ngayon, ganun din po ang sinasabi. At lahat ng kandidatong tumatakbo sa midterm election ay 93%, 93-94% success rate. Ito ay ayon kay Trump, na mananalo sila at sabi nila, tutuloy nila ang investigasyon ng 2020 election and everything that happened since. Kasama na rin po dyan si Dr. Fauci ng CDC. I-indict na po nila at i-investigahan na po nila. So we can expect, syempre yung mga kalaban nila na gumawa nitong mga kalokohan the past 2 years, past 2-3 years, na lumaban. Kasama na po dyan ang tinatawag na natin na deep state na patuloy na itinutulak ang World War III. Pero so far, hindi sila successful. Hindi po natin masasabi kung kailan. Pero ito yung importansya kasi magpapalit lahat ng, mag-iiba po lahat ng policies sa US. And when magpalit ng policy sa US, susunod na yan ng, sa mundo. So yan po ang pinaka-importante nangyayari ngayon. Sabi ni Trump, kailangan magrehistro at bumoto na lahat. Go to the election places and overwhelm everybody with the vote so mahirapan silang dumaya. Kasi yan po ang tanging paraan kung paano labanan ang dagdag bawas o Smartmatic. Yun lang po. That's the importance. Yun lang po, Chairman.
Okay, well, tabayanan po natin because next Sunday, November 6, will be 2 days before that election in the United States, no? So November 8 kasi yung elections na yun. In November 6, yung Sunday, makikita ulit tayo dito sa ating Katipunan upang batiin din ang si Itos Valdes ng happy birthday. No?
Blow out. Happy birthday to you.
Next week yan. Okay, pwede na tayo. Magbabasa ka pa ba?
Meron po, wait lang po para titignan po natin kung may mga messages po tayo mula sa ating social media accounts. Pero habang hinahanap ko po ang ating pong mga text messages ay nais ko lamang pong sabihin kasi dahil maulan po, no, ilang mga lugar po ang ika nga natin ay mga natumba, mga puno, kaya yung iba ay wala pong mga ilaw, no? At isang apektado dyan yung ating isa sa mga technical team po natin, si Ver Archivido. Wala pong kuryente sa kanila.
Hindi daw makalabas ng bahay na nabagsakan ng poste ng Meralco yung kanilang gate.
Oo nga po.
Natatakot siya baka.
May kuryente, no? At saka po, actually po sa ibang panig din po talaga ng Metro Manila, hindi lamang po sa mga lalawigan, ang marami po talaga ang naapektuhan. Kaya nga po, talagang malakas po talaga yung bagyo na dumaan, no? Kaya ingat-ingat po tayo, katulad po ng lagi ko pong pinapaalala sa inyo, yung mga dokumento po na importante, ilagay nyo na po sa plastic na selyado para kung sakali man na kailangan po kayong lumikas, nakalagay na po yan sa inyong mga ready go bag. Yan, importante po yan at ilang piraso po ng ano. Anyway, meron po tayong mga texters po dito sa ating pong FB. Nako, batiin natin tong si Ma'am Jinky Bill. Hello po, ma'am at sir, watching again from Germany. Thank you, Ma'am Jinky. At kayo po ay patuloy na nanonood dito. Kay Agemo Nam, good evening, watching from Las Piñas. At mula pa rin kay, kay Agemo Nam, may message po siya. Walang nagpapatay dyan kay Percy. Nagpapatay dyan kay Percy. Ano? Tama ba? Walang nagpapatay dyan kay Percy ay politiko. Baka I review ang video kung sino napikon na politiko. Ayon sa mga tao, pangalawa yung nakasagutan niya na politiko sa lugar nila. Sabi ng mga taga roon. Nako, sino yun? At mula kay Luis Gerald, Tess Bitog, Marites. Yan sabi, bagay pala sa kanya yung unang pangalan ni Bitog. Laugh out loud. By the way, magandang gabi po sa inyo, sabi niya. At mula pa rin...
Si Tess Bitog?
Apo?
Siya ba yun, yung Tess Bitog sa Rappler?
Hindi po. Nag-comment lang po si Luis Gerald at binanggit po niya yung sa Tess Bitog. At mula kay Agemo Nam, tama po kayo, mga corrupt ang civilian government natin. Ayon sa mga tao dahil nakontrol na tayo ng mga kabal at komunista na nasa poder ng kapangyarihan. Yan. At mula kay Andres Sakay Alforo, gandang gabi po, ma'am, sir. At sabi pa ni Luis Gerald, amo yung kay Derek Ramsey. O nga, yung kaninang binabanggit ni Jeffrey, sir, parang Filipino film to, Amo tsaka Baybas nakita ko sa Netflix yan. Sabi pa rin niya, Brillante Mendoza ang director. At sabi niya, ayun, sabi ni Luis Gerald, Sir Itos, palibre ka naman po, Sir Itos, na birthday mo na At sa lahat po ng magdidiwang po ng birthday sa November, yan, buwan po ng Nobyembre ay maligayang kaarawan po sa inyo. Advance happy birthday po dahil katapusan na po. Huling araw po ito ng buwan po ng Oktubre at bukas ay, November 1, araw ng mga patay.
Cathy,
Butch, 3 minutes na lang po nalalabe. Yes, Sir Butch.
Cathy, paalala natin dito sa mga nagte-text sa atin, maski na nasa ibang bansa sila, na maaari silang sumali sa ating Zoom, no? Kasi naka-publish naman sa ating Facebook yung meeting ID tsaka yung passcode, no? Pare-pareho yan every week, hindi po nagpapalit. So pwede kayo pong sumali sa ating talakayan at kumustahan lang natin ang ating mga kababayan dito, no? So all of them that are watching can also join us in the Zoom meetings.
Yes. Meron pa tayong mga pahabol, Sir Butch. Mirna Alvaran, yan, good evening po. At kay Jo Lax Penera, Sir, sana mabigyan kayo ng posisyon sa gobyerno. PBBM government, ang laki ng maiaambag nyo na mapabuti ang bansa natin. At mula kay Cesar Soberano, in my class again, always I learn from you, Sir Butch. At syempre, sabi nga ni Itos, there are so many missed opportunities for the Philippines since 1980s. Somehow, we became the world's cheapest servants. Totoo yan. Need to change all economic policies now. At mula kay Richie Sento Marcelo, control the position po ba ang Q, quote-unquote, saka white hats? Kasi hanggang ngayon, wala pa raw pong ebidensya gaya ng video ng mga pagkilos nila at puro publicity lang daw po. At mula kay Jart Doringo, hirap talaga maging Pangulo kahit gaano mo katatag bago ang campaign at pagka manalo na, pagdating ng Malacanang para hinawakan na sila sa leeg, halos hindi makagalaw. Totoo yata na may mafia talaga dyan at may kakayahan silang i-control ang kahit sinong Pangulo na mauupo. Sir Butch,
yan nga yung aking tatandaan mo ba, Cathy?
Yes, sir.
Sinasabi noon, Hindi ko alam bakit gusto nito mga taong maging Pangulo ng Pilipinas, saksakan ng malaking problema ang mga
Correct.
no? At unless ang kanilang pakay ay hindi maglutas ng problema, kundi magdagdag sa problema.
Okay, Sir Butch. At tayo ay magpaalam na. Oras na po para tayo ay maghawi ng tabi.
Okay. Andito na naman po tayo. Tapos na po yung ating 2 oras. At dito sa Ating Katipunan. Sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa Ating Katipunan at sa mga galing ng staff ng DZXL Radio Mo nationwide. Kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan niyo ngayon ang ora de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito po sa Ating Katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli, mag-Zoom tayo. Zoom meeting ulit tayo. 7 to 9 p.m. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Bye-bye everyone. Thank you, Sir Johnny. Thank you, Sir Butch, Sir Ito, Super Sally.